The Defenders are back. Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and even Iron Fist. They're all here on set of Daredevil Born Again Season 3, but why? What's going on? Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, Colton here, and quite a few of you guys sent me links to various articles and social media posts talking about these pictures of the OG Netflix-era Defenders all back together again on the set of Daredevil Born Again Season 3, so I thought I would share with you guys my thoughts on their return, what their return could mean for Daredevil Born Again Season 2, and how this season will end. We also need to talk about where Daredevil is in these pictures, like why he's not there, and we'll talk about why Marvel is embracing parts of the Netflix era that even I wouldn't have blamed them if they opted to ignore. It is well documented that I am a huge hater on Marvel's initial plans of only bringing back Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio and essentially treating Born Again like a full reboot of the characters that just so happened to have the same two lead actors. They weren't going to bring back Foggy or Karen or Poindexter, they weren't recasting Vanessa, and they were probably going to use like the multiverse excuse of, oh yeah, those Netflix shows, they happened in a slightly different timeline, and they really just wanted to be able to have their cake and eat it too. They wanted to bring back Cox and D'Onofrio, arguably the two best parts of that entire corner of Marvel TV, but that's where they planned to stop, and they pretty much planned to give us a very Disney Plus-ified version of the characters that we actually got glimpses of in like She-Hulk and Hawkeye. Now, thankfully, Kevin Feige realized that this was a mistake, and he ordered a complete reshuffling. They decided that they would embrace the original show. They brought back more of the original cast. They deemed all the Netflix-era stuff like official MCU canon, including Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, The Defenders. They put it all on Disney Plus, and Daredevil Born Again Season 1, it was reworked to essentially be a Daredevil Season 4 that acknowledged the old shows and the lore, as well as embraced their darker and grittier, more adult nature. And I swear to you, that is the only thing that saved Season 1 of Born Again, a season that is very rough. It's not a bad season, but it's rough. And I think their full embrace, their non-hatchet job that we are seeing in Season 2, and I say non-hatchet job because really Season 1 of Born Again, you can tell they are trying to salvage some of what they shot from the Disney Plus-ified version and bring it into their new direction that is more inspired by the original show. And it's just kind of a modge podge of like different tones and whatnot that didn't really work all that great. But anyway, Season 2 of Born Again, it doesn't have that hatchet job feeling, and it really feels like they have fully restored that era of Marvel television that was just so good. And I just feel like we're back. I have already seen episode 4 of Born Again Season 2, which as of the time of this recording drops tomorrow night. I'm recording this on Monday night. It comes out tomorrow night, Tuesday night, and it's just getting better and better, better and better. So anyway, I tell you all of this to make sure that it is very clear that I am a hardcore Netflix-era Daredevil fan. I also enjoyed Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, The Defenders. I will admit that I have not seen all of Iron Fist. I didn't see the second and third season of Jessica Jones. I didn't see the second season of Luke Cage. I'm trying to remember if there's even a third season. That is my bad. I do need to catch up. Forgive me. I'm a huge fan of the 2 seasons of Punisher. I hope that on top of his special and his role in Brand New Day, that they have even more plans for him. Now, going back to Jessica Jones, Season 1 of her show with the Purple Man, I just absolutely adored that season. So when I saw that they were bringing back Kristen Ritter for Born Again Season 2, I was very excited for that, and that was our first like clue that, oh, they really are like fully like embracing that original era. So I was very excited that they were bringing her back in, but I was also kind of like simultaneously surprised. And I'll admit, I'm also finding myself a little surprised that they're actually like just fully embracing the return of Luke Cage and Iron Fist as well, and that they're essentially reforming the Defenders. And I'm wondering what they have planned for this big reunion. As of right now, they're all back for Season 3 of Born Again, and some reports suggest that the Defenders have reassembled to help protect New York in the absence of Daredevil, because it is rumored that Matt is in prison come the end of Season 2. Now, I've personally theorized that Season 2 of Born Again could end with both Matt and Wilson Fisk going to prison. And then season 3 could be about Matt and Fisk having to work together to survive their time in the pen. But on the outside, we could have characters like Karen, maybe Frank Castle Punisher, White Tiger. We could see the Defenders as well reform and serve as the protectors of the city while Daredevil is gone. Where's Spider-Man? Ask Sony. There was actually a report that I think I saw today or yesterday that pretty much said that Sony just straight up will not allow for Tom Holland's Spider-Man to appear in a Disney Plus show. I won't get into that now. I've got a video in the works on that topic, and I will do that a little later. Anyway, these pictures of the big three back together, I say three because no Charlie Cox. This idea that Matt Murdock is locked away and that's why we're only seeing these three together, and that maybe they're there in his absence. I think that's a good bet. I also did a video years ago on Screen Crush talking about how I thought Born Again could show us Matt in prison and maybe Spider-Man attempting to break him out. And then we have, now this Brand New Day trailer where Spider-Man is in a prison cell fighting the hand ninjas. So maybe Marvel saw my video. You're welcome. No, not really. Anyway, I do find myself a little surprised that Marvel Television is just fully embracing this era after having ignored it for so long. Because remember, while it is called Marvel Television now, and it's under the banner of Marvel Studios, before Marvel Television was under Marvel Entertainment, as was Marvel Studios. And Ike Perlmutter, dipshit, and Kevin Feige, they did not get along. And Feige essentially, talked to Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, and made it to where he no longer had to answer to Ike Perlmutter, and that Marvel Studios was essentially became a parallel thing to Marvel Entertainment, Marvel Television, and now Feige just answered directly to Bob Iger instead of having to go through Perlmutter. So really, Marvel Studios had nothing to do with any of the Daredevil and Defenders shows. And while those shows did acknowledge MCU stuff, some, and it got less and less as the shows went on, the MCU never referenced those shows really at all. The first time they actually referenced those shows was in Spider-Man No Way Home when we saw Matt Murdock appear as Peter's lawyer. And I think that was kind of one of the first steps to them reincorporating Charlie Cox into the MCU, but as this rebooted, non-connected to the Netflix era Daredevil. Anyway, I am kind of surprised yet simultaneously happy to see that they are realizing that the way that they tried doing MCU TV with those early era Disney Plus Marvel shows, and a lot of them were good. Loki's great. WandaVision's great. And I'm glad to see that they, I think, are realizing that the way Marvel Television was done before, despite technically being under Marvel Entertainment and that dipshit Ike Perlmutter, who really had nothing to do with the actual quality there. It was the showrunners and stuff. But anyway, that approach of having it be kind of church and state is the point I'm making, of having it be its own entity and not so intertwined and feeling like just Marvel movies chopped up into episodes. That approach overall was just better and had better results and a more dedicated fan base. So while I want Daredevil and these Defenders characters in the wider MCU, I like the idea of Daredevil and Punisher popping up in Spider-Man films and whatever, but you really do have to have a little bit of church and state when it comes to crossing movies and television too much, because if you do it wrong, it gets messy and it hurts both more than it helps either. Movies that require seasons of television as a prereq, they don't perform well. And TV shows that just feel like, oh, here's a Marvel movie, but it's at home on Disney Plus, and we chopped it up into 8 sections. That doesn't make for good TV. These are two very different styles of filmmaking and storytelling, and it's a very different profession. Being a really good filmmaker is really different from being a really good showrunner. And that's something that they, I think, lost sight of at Marvel for a little bit. So movies need to be movies and primarily cross over with other movies, and TV shows need to be TV shows, and they need to be ran like TV shows and primarily cross over with other TV shows. And that means having your TV characters and having your movie characters. No movie characters on the small screen, and no trying to make movies out of your TV characters. Let them stay in their own lanes it's where they perform best. Now, Marvel stated a few years back that Vision Quest would be the last time we would see a movie character leading a TV show. And I think that their embrace of the Defenders, an established Marvel television brand of interconnected heroes, is proof that Marvel really does plan to have their interconnected, street-level TV MCU that lives in the same universe as the mainline MCU, but that can survive on its own and doesn't feel like it's just, oh, we have Marvel at home. And it feels like it's its own thing that is there because it's supposed to be, not because it's just some auxiliary thing to the films. A TV show cannot be a good TV show if its entire basis is, oh, it's connected to those movies. No, a TV show needs to be a TV show. They don't need to be made just because some suit said go make a bunch of Marvel TV shows for Disney Plus. No, they need to be made with intention and with purpose. Anyway, I think this is a good sign. A little surprising. I'm curious to see what it means for other MCU shows like Moon Knight or Ms. Marvel. Do they get rolled into the Defenders? I think Ms. Marvel should become a full-on movie character. And I actually think Moon Knight, I'm not a big fan of the Moon Knight show, but I think he could be a fun addition to the Defenders team. Do you think we're getting another Defenders series? Will we be getting like more individual seasons of these hero shows? Like another season of Jessica Jones, another season of Luke Cage? Personally, I think maybe Jessica Jones and Luke Cage should just share a show. Like you could even like call it Jones and Cage or, Jessica and Luke or something like that. I mean, Jesus, they did WandaVision, so I think they can make it work. I think that's what they should do there. As for old Iron Fist, maybe you could let him like creep his way into a Shang-Chi movie. I know that kind of spits in the face of everything I just said earlier in the video, but maybe that could work. The possibilities are endless, and I'm glad to see Marvel finally just saying, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's just bring them back. What could it hurt? This stuff that we treated like, ugly stepchildren, it actually performed quite well and has a great fan base. Let's just welcome it in and, pull on those nostalgia strings, bring them back, see what happens. All right, it is late. I need to get home, so I will let you guys go, but I just wanted to be sure that I talked a little bit of Defenders before I headed out for the day. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you to everyone who sent in questions about these Defenders photos. Very cool. All right, I will see you guys next time. Bye!